Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm Greg Graham. In the music world, I'm known as Comfort Crusade. And I've been doing this for about, like 20 years now. So lots of production and remixing of familiar artists and emerging artists over that whole course of time. But I wanted to connect with you guys because one thing that I'm noticing about this entire AI shift in many fields is that there is a certain way that producers approach working with AI as opposed to how people who may not have been in production before, how they actually approach it, I should say. I wanted to share some tips with you that I find can work really well, especially for those people that may be struggling with adapting to using AI tools in their work. For producers, it's kind of almost something we've been doing this whole time. Like, especially if you're an electronic music producer, there are lots of different technologies, different plugins, different software updates that we're used to getting, hit, every so often, and we have to adapt. So I find that adaptability that producers normally have is something that's really advantageous for how we approach using these AI tools. And I just want to share with everyone that yes, if you get that same adaptability, you can also make some strides in your own creative endeavors using AI. Today, I still produce music and tour internationally as a DJ, with most of my production work taking place in London or Miami, or even here in New York. I'm also a seasoned brand copywriter with years of marketing experience. I think like over 12 now to be exact. And I also have a company that I founded where I help different clients with their creative solutions for their brands. Either they're looking for different types of writing and messaging for their products or services, or they're even looking for music for their ad campaigns. And that's where I come in with Carmine Street Media. So now I apply this same mindset to all types of content creation that I'm doing, whether it's copywriting, making music, doing some visuals for the music, things like that. And one thing that's wild about all this is I'm starting to see how it's applicable to many other creative professions too. I have two chef friends. One works at a really, really sweet, like high-end, ultra dope hotel. And the other one works as a private chef in his home, but like he's cooking for like a big family and they have like lots of different tastes and preferences. So they're both using AI to help them think of different flavor combinations and different types of flavor profile approaches so they can make completely new dishes. And I think that's really wild. I wouldn't have thought of applying it like that, but using the same type of producer mindset, they're able to go to the tools that they need to get the ideas and the brainstorming activity with those particular AI tools that they're choosing. One big foundational idea about the producer mindset is the ability to see yourself as not just a creator, but also more of like a conductor or an orchestrator. It's about putting the right elements and or resources and or people together to get like the best outcome that you can. When a lot of producers are putting together music, they hire bassists, they'll hire drummers, they'll hire synth players, and like all of the different elements that they have. They'll put them together and have them come out with the best possible song. That's the same thing you can do when using these AI tools. Now, all the AI tools are the same. I know some friends that they use ChatGPT for everything, or they might use Perplexity for everything. But the reality is that each of those tools have different strengths and different challenges. ChatGPT, for instance, is excellent when it comes to organization and structure. I find that Gemini and Perplexity are awesome when it comes to research, especially with, on the Gemini side, they have access to Google search. So everything that you can search for in Google, the AI there can search as well, and much faster than any of us can. Perplexity is really good too because it's thorough and it does what are called citations, similar to what you see like when you're reading a case study or a big report. You'll see little footnotes by different sentences. Well, Perplexity is great at citing these particular resources that it finds, so it can tell you that, hey, I got this from this particular site, or hey, this site says this is true. This site has this number or these stats. So you're able to really verify what you're getting with your AI. One of my favorite AI tools for writing is by far Claude. Claude.ai is a great place to get that brainstorming partner that many of us writers are always looking for, whether they're human or AI in this instance. Claude is great. It's very intelligent, has a wide vocabulary, and it's also starting to understand nuance and feeling as well. So to convey a message in a particular way, you can now ask it to evaluate what you wrote, what you individually came up with, and it will then kind of give you some suggestions or just say, hey, it's nothing I can do, it's perfect. But it's great. It's definitely great to have that kind of electronic partner if you don't have anyone human around that can function at that level that you're looking for. Back in the day when sampling in music started to, evolve, a lot of the purists were saying, hey, what are you doing sampling? That's not playing music, this and that. Well, I'd say approaching it the same way. We're going through this collectively with AI. People are using AI to do many other tasks. However, I find that you can use AI to enhance your idea and to develop more on that idea. Some people are using AI to just give them the answer. And in many instances, it's just not as good as someone who is actually using it as a brainstorming partner and helping them think through a concept that they themselves have been working on. Now, admittedly, let's just be real. There are some times, if you're going to do a wet paint sign or something like that, and you needed to use AI for that, you can do that, and there's no other meaning to that sign other than the fact that it's wet paint. But if you're writing something that has meaning, it's a good idea to give it to your AI and then have the AI give you some suggestions on what you wrote. So then that way you can decide how you want to build that idea from there. That's what we do as musicians. Whenever we hear a sample, oftentimes there's a sample, but there's an entire song that's built around the sample. Or there's just a song that has a sample in it and it's so well hidden, but it adds just enough of an element to make a change, or a desired change, I should say, in the song. Same thing, using AI doesn't have to be cheating. It's more of using it to just bring out your ideas more. And then that way you can get toward the end goal of what you're eventually, working at. I came up with a framework that will help lots of different creative professionals find a way to bring that producer mindset to life in their worlds. So, if you're a designer or if you're a software developer, you can apply all of this to the work that you're doing. I'd say number one would be focusing on your vision rather than doing everything yourself. You don't have to do everything yourself, just like an accountant doesn't have to add the numbers manually or, do the math in general manually. I know I want my accountant to use a calculator, and if you're doing it manually, that's cool. But yeah, enhance the work, make the workflow quicker so you can get on to what your ultimate goal is. Focusing on your vision rather than doing everything yourself is number one. The second thing, if you think about AI tools, just use them as your instruments. You can see them as instruments in your own orchestra. You know, you have the string section here, you have the upright bass over here, you have, you know, the violins and violas on this side. You have the drums and the bass, like maybe in the middle. Like, you can choose where everything goes, and also what parts go on at particular times. That's the same thing with AI. Like, you don't have to use everything just because, you know, you have it available. Be picky, you know, take a look and see what you need and just use that for that particular project. The third thing is develop the skill and recognize quality AI outputs. And I always tell lots of my friends this, don't treat it like it's that homework machine that we've all dreamt of back when we were kids. You know, like, oh, can you draft me a resume? Thank you. You know, you can get down to the different nuances that are needed to make that resume or that document be the best that it can be. AI doesn't really care about, you know, writing you the best resume. You have to tell it what you consider is the best document at that time. AI is not going to necessarily be in your best interest at every moment in your thought process. You know, you have to tell it, look, I need something short this time. I need something punchy. I need something long. I need something drawn out. I need something detailed. You have to let AI know all of those different types of nuances and details so it can give you the best output that you're looking for. And the fourth thing is building a workflow that combines like the best of your creativity with the best of the technology's capabilities. So what I mean by that is being very choosy and picking the AI that is best for a particular project. Also, with you being creative, put in as much as you know and as much as you can to the project, so it will then reflect you a lot better than just relying on the AI. For instance, taking it back to music, most music that you're hearing nowadays, in the electronic music at least, sampling itself has come such a long way. I mean, there are some really subtle samples that are in lots of music that they've built entire songs from. So it's definitely something that I would say is a lot more creative when people just take an element and then build around it, rather than using that one element that you're given as your final product. Like, that's, you know, it's like you don't have to stop there. You can keep going, you know, make it yours. Don't make it just the output that you got. And I think realistically, the most successful creative pros of the future won't be those who resist new technologies. They'll be the ones that learn how to like produce with them. In other words, you pick the tools, like they're not picking you. So you choose what you think is best for each different thing, each different project. These types of people are going to be functioning more of like as a conductor, you know. So like I said before, you want to be the leader of the tools, of the elements. You're not subject to having them tell you what to do.